far away from where movies are made. And Karan, I know, Karan, talk about you knowing Shubhra the first time. And I remember you asking me, do you know Shubhra? Does she like anything?
Yeah, I mean, Shubhra is pretty much an immensely respected critic in our country, and I think she's, in a sense, you know that very few critics when you read, well, that's not saying not very few, there are many critics actually that when I read, I feel are completely bias-free and agenda-free, you know, and invariably people, members of the fraternity, tend to have conspiracy theories about critics which are always wrong and incorrect. But you know that Shubhra, somebody, she lives in Delhi, she lives away from all the madness that surrounds us, and that gives you perspective, it gives you objectivity. And she's discerning, exceptionally so. I don't think she's liked anything I've ever made. It doesn't stop me from respecting her word. And when there is that one odd occasional film that she doesn't mind, it becomes a big deal for me in my head.
You've really earned it.
Yeah, I feel like, oh my God, she liked it. The fearful part is that sometimes she likes things that no one goes and watches. But that doesn't matter, because eventually she's being honest to her word, she's being honest to her job, she's being honest in her critique. And it's wonderful, and as are you, Rajiv. But I think that you liked many more films than Shubhra has. So that's the only why you're on the opposite side of the spectrum. But what is amazing about Shubhra is she's consistently, I would say, discerning. Like there is never like, she doesn't have, like I know that when she once told me that there's every film that I go in and watch, she says I go in like without any kind of information in mind. She tries not to even watch the trailer at times or find out too much about it. So I think the whole idea when she goes and sits in the cinema hall that she wants to like it. Who doesn't want to watch a film? You know, you don't go in saying, I hope this film is going to be awful, it's going to be such.
Although a lot of people think all critics are like that they go in.
No, I think I'm one of those rare filmmakers, I think, that almost reads every review written in the digital world. I read and follow everyone's opinion. In fact, I'm one of the first people who, of course, knew Shubhra wrote for Indian Express, or that Rangan Bharadwaj writes for The Hindu and now for the Film Companion. You know, Rajiv and Anu were our superstar critics, but there were so many others who were academic, who were prolific, who said many, many clever things about movies and didn't give you the screenplay of the film or the story. You know, and with their version of the screenplay, which sometimes critics tend to do, is that I would have done this, but you are not the filmmaker. You must not say what you would have done. Why don't you just review what you've seen? And I think I'm really a big review junkie. So for me, I'm kind of starstruck between Rajiv Vasant and Shubhra Gupta right now.
Shubhra, you're embarking on this book.
For the 50, because Harper has a series which has 50 songs that, 50 something that. And when we first started talking, I told him, I said, how can you have 50? It's not possible. So he said, it has to be 50. Then I looked at all my reviews of the last 20 years. Every single one of them. And then I whittled it down to 100. And then we fought about, can we do 100? He said, no. Can we do 100? He said, no. Please. He said, no. So he said, got it down to 50. That took me almost a year to do that. Because I watched every single film. Every review, having read every single review, every single film from 1993 onwards. Every single one. And then we chose the 50. Yes. And that took a long time to do. And I wasn't really, still not very happy about the 50, I have to say. I wish it was 100. So
why did you choose to make it 50 then?
So then, you tell me about this.
Is it Shantanu?
Yes.
It was your choice to make
it
50?
Yes, it is his choice because they have a series which says.
Oh.
So it had to.
50 Indian film classics and 50. And I think it's exciting. Of course, you can include so many things, but for 50, Shubhra has to do something.
Yeah, yes, a lot of work that went into and the fun part was that I actually watched every single, I read. So the nice part about this book is that it has the original review of when the film came out. And then I revisit the film and then I stack it up with the new stuff, which is really where the USP of the book lies. Because each of these films came out when the country was at some stage doing something, or people were doing something, or each film is about its time more than anything else does. It comes out at a particular time and it talks to that time. So when you look back, you have perspective. But when I was reviewing Dilwale Dulhania Le Jayenge, for example, there was absolutely no idea in any of our heads that it was going to be the film that it would
Right.
It was in one moldering single screen in Delhi that we all watched it. And we all said, yeah, theek hai, achhi hai, this was fun, that was fun. But did any one of us know that it was going to be the kind of film that would have long legs?
I have a question to ask you, Shubhra. Have
Yeah.
you seen Dilwale today? How many stars would you have given it? I want to know. Since you sit with not more than 1.5 or 2 on many occasions, I just want to know how many Dilwale. I'm not even going down kuch kuch hota because I'm worried it'll break my heart. So we'll just break Aditya Chopra's heart for now.
So you really want to know?
Yeah, I really want to know.
So right now,
Yeah.
can I think about it for a minute?
Think about it. We'll get back to you, but I won't forget.
Okay, alright, fine.
Karan, there are 2 of your films in the book.
I mean, ironically, she has that in common with you, with Kavi Alvida.
I think that
I'm
that's
really
my-
happy I'm in the book, Shubhra. Why are these
No,
films in
so
your book?
I think you, Karan, are one of the big architects of how his 20 years played out. I think your Kuch Kuch Hota Hai, when it came out, was a seminal film in a way that DDLJ wasn't. DDLJ wasn't. It was trying to do something fun, it was fresh, it was youthful, but what you did in your film was something completely different, and I knew when I was watching it, the day I was watching it, that this film is going to do something. It is going to impact modern youthful romance in a way that nothing else has. I think, and the fact that everyone watched it the way they did, everyone cleaved to it the way they did, it became the film it did. And I think because it is men and women bonded in holy matrimony, actually looking at other people and wanting to, go the mile, I think it's fabulous. And that,
Stars.
yeah, and the really good rock stars. You had Shahrukh, you had Rani, you had Kriti Zinta, you had Amitabh Bachchan, doing what he was, he was doing what he was doing, and everyone like, I was really taken up by the topic, but I wish it was a better film. There were so many places where I felt it was sliding, it sort of slacked a lot. But as a film, I think I watched it again, and I was really struck by there is so much anger in the relationship, there is so much trouble, and these guys are really going at it. They're not sort of pussyfooting around each other, really having a fight.
I think I will always regret some things. I think Kavi Alvida has some of my my favorite moments for my personally as a filmmaker. I regret, and I completely endorse what Shubhra said. I think it's a flawed film, and I think the mistakes in that film are entirely mine. I think I tried to do 2 things. I tried to do something fresh, interesting, and groundbreaking, but then halfway through I also got scared. So just like my sun sign, which is Gemini, I became 2 people in the film. And I think I should have just been one person with one solid conviction. The root of Kavi Alvida Na Kehna was a relationship-based film. It was an intimate film about 2 couples, and each one of them. And the other thing is, I had written the characters very differently, and then stars stepped in, and I started adhering to star imagery and persona over and above the core content. Like if you read the screenplay of Kavi Alvida, it's infinitely superior to the film. And I think that I let many moments of that film down by some parts were overcast, some parts were overtly opulent for no reason. It took away the intimacy and paved the way for mainstream. With the result, it has a neither here nor there feeling. While some scenes in the film are very strong and impactful, others are, I would say, like perhaps, catering, which they shouldn't have. It's the one film and only film in my career graph that I am going to do again. And I will do Kavi Alvida and hopefully get it right.
Is there a filmmaker? I was just going through the list of the films that are in the book. I was trying to take count of which filmmaker has the maximum entries. Turns out Vishal Bhardwaj has 2, Karan has 2, Divakar has 2, Ram Gopal Verma has 2, Anurag Kashyap has 3. I want to ask both of you: is there one filmmaker over others that you feel has had the greatest impact on where cinema is headed even now, and where that period of 1995 to 2015 is concerned, who perhaps left the most indelible stamp?
Alright, so I would say that if I had 94 to play with, I would say Suraj Bhattacharya. Absolutely. With Hum Aapke Hain Kaun, it's a film that everybody references in some way or the other. Aditya Chopra, of course, is in here because in October 95 was when Dilwale came out. And I would also say that Maine Pyar Kiya, Suraj Bhattacharya, also Qayamat Se Qayamat Tak. I think that would have been, those are the 3 films sort of